just got to get ready. How are you feeling after that game?
I'm feeling good. That was actually I mean, this is a late game, and I gotta say, I'm not a fan of late games. I'm not a fan of the 8 p.m. starts, but that was an interesting one to keep somebody awake until 10:40 p.m. local time.
Yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights really pushed it towards the end, but I do
They did.
feel like it felt almost playoff-esque. It
It
reminded me
did.
a little bit of like that Dallas series where like the Oilers didn't really care if you were getting shots as long as they weren't from like anywhere too dangerous. They just kind of let you absorb the pressure, chip it out, let them go again, and do it over and over again. I feel like we saw that a bunch in the playoffs, but yeah, this was it's a huge win for Edmonton. One to kick off the road trip, and we've got a huge super chat from Tammy. I believe she's a regular
Ooh.
on this show with her donations to the Ben Stelter Foundation. A big $30 donation. Thank you so much, Tammy. 30 for 30. Pickles for King. Stick tap, stip tap. Heart hands, heart hands, heart hands, heart hands for Ben. Always. Cup, yep. P.S. Miss you, Boardsy. I think we'll be
We'll be
getting an
making an appearance, right?
appearance from Aaron at some point today. But yeah, just overall a massive win for the Edmonton Oilers. Anyone in particular stand out to you, Coom, before we dive into the scoring summary, or anything else in particular stand out?
I thought honestly it was a full team effort. Like it was unfortunate they didn't come out with the win against Dallas. It was last week. They had a good team effort and wound up losing that game 4-3. But this one was kind of exactly what we talked about in the pregame show, which is just keep it simple. Hope that your forwards come through with a few goals and try and win this thing 2-1 or 3-2. And that's literally exactly what happened.
Yeah, it is exactly what happened. I'm getting a little bit of criticism over in the Odd Company YouTube chat right now. My apologies, Tammy. A regular calling you a regular apparently was undermining what you mean to this community right now, because I've got Amanda in here saying that's Queen Tammy Liam, also Sergeant Battle. A regular? Nah, that's the Queen of ONAD. Put some respect on her name, Liam. My apologies, Tammy. Thank you very much for your donation again. But let's dive into the scoring summary brought to you by Greta. We've got a few goals to break down here. If you want to go break it down, I'm sure Greta's groovy right now. Holy baloney, there is a huge I'm right in the middle of my ad read, but Greta would understand because Copier just donated $158 to
Oh,
the
hell yeah.
Foundation. In the comment, 96 plus 29 plus 33. Can I get a damn Copier? That is.
Capier.
There you go. We got a Coom Copier. Let's get it in the chat from everyone. Just a Copier. That is a
Yeah,
giant.
everyone just say it out loud wherever you are.
Yeah, thank you so much for that one. Copier as Connor McDavid in a Jesus overlay there. That is, I think, I would assume, Pat, you
That's
could
the
probably
McJesus,
confirm
yeah.
that's got to be the most anyone's donated to the Ben Stelter Foundation through one of our shows. So shout out to you, Capier, and everyone else in the chat right now. If you want, hey, you can all keep donating. $2 goes a long way as well. It doesn't all have to be these ginormous ones that Tammy and Capier have dropped in so far. So that is a fantastic start to the show. But let's get into the scoring summary. Obviously, the first one comes in from the Vegas Golden Knights, Nicholas Waugh with the goal. A bit of a obviously Vegas were in control of most of the first period. I think it's fair to say, but quick shot in the slot from him was honestly like a really nice goal from him. To be fair, a little bit off balance. The puck was definitely behind him, but Nicholas Waugh, I do really like his game, Coom. I don't know what you think about him, but just a reliable player for Vegas. But yeah, just one of those goals coming in transition against Edmonton in the slot, which has not been ideal for them most of the season.
Yeah, this just felt like a Vegas Golden Knights goal. One of those ones that just comes out of nowhere. It's not like the Golden Knights had a bunch of offensive zones, sustained pressure, and moved the puck around and got a great scoring chance. It was just, well, here's, a little kind of a turnover, the puck's not handled properly, and then someone just capitalizes it and shoots it in. This is the Golden Knights just have this quick strike offense, and they have 4 different lines that can score goals. It's that one top line with Jack Eichel carries a lot of their offense, but they do have 4 lines that any of them on the ice can score at any time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we spoke about that in the pregame. Is you look at the names on the sheet and it doesn't look that scary, and then you start playing against them, you're like, oh, all these guys are really, really good. And also the fact Tanner Pearson is on this team, kind of forgot he was in the NHL. Shout out Tanner Pearson. also another former World Junior player. But the Edmonton Oilers didn't get any goals in the first period. They barely got any shots in the first period, never mind a goal. It was dominated by Vegas, to be fair to them. They played a pretty good home period there. But 19 seconds into the second period, Jake Wallman gets his first goal as an Edmonton Oiler. I believe it was his 7th of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Credit Sportsnet too for the highlights. But Jake Wallman here, Evan Bouchard to pod calls in, down the boards, wham, right into the back of the net by Jake Wallman. What have your impressions been of Jake Wallman since he joined the Oilers? I really like this pairing of him and Bouchard. I don't think it's something we'll see for long, considering obviously Ekholm and Bouchard is pretty much like a staple in the lineup every single night when they're both healthy. But I do like this pairing.
Yeah, this is one that's found a lot of success, and it's in a kind of a small sample, and it's one that's sort of on paper you think, well, you put these sort of two offensively minded players together, and this might be, risk prone. This might be a bit of a disaster, but it's two guys that move the puck around so well that you find the Oilers are just in offensive chances so often when the two of them are on the ice together. And yeah, going back to your question, like what do you think about Jake Wallman and what he's brought to the Oilers? And I mean, it's crazy to think that in the offseason that the Detroit Red Wings paid a draft pick to get this guy moved to the San Jose Sharks. I have really no idea what was going on there. And I mean, even when they acquired him from San Jose, having watched a few times and looking at his numbers, you think this is a solid top 4 D-man. But I think Jake Wallman's even come more than advertised since arriving in Edmonton. He's looked like a legit top pairing D-man, I think.
I really do believe he could have a similar impact to what Matthias Ekholm has had on this Oilers team over the last couple of years. Obviously, a younger player as well. His cap hit is very reasonable. What is it, like 3.8 million? I feel like he's someone who has a lot to prove still in his young career. He's not been around that long, and he's already like 28 years old. So he's been a really good player for them. I like what they've got. The chat right now is just all cup year, but I did see a couple in there. Bo said Wallman rollback season. Jeff Skinner, Wall Snipe City, and Southpaw kind of agreeing as well, saying Ekholm and Nurse would be a bit deadly shutdown pair, and I'd be very curious to see. I will always stand by this point. Darnell Nurse is easily the most athletic player on the Edmonton Oilers. He's such a great athlete, and I think he could play on his right side and probably figure it out. But we do have another super chat from Mattis Moraviak. My apologies. I definitely did not say that correctly. $7.99 to the Ben Stelz Foundation. So keep them all rolling in, folks. We always appreciate it. Oh, there's another one here I missed too from Southpaw. 1069. Avi, very high TOB, time on bum, but scored from there. So cup you? A lot of cup years today, Coomzy. Seems to be a common theme here. But moving on, the Edmonton Oilers make it 2-1 when they get gifted a 5-on-3 power play. Leon Draisaitl draws the extra call there when the Oilers are already on the power play. And Nugent-Hopkins, talked about him in the pregame as just someone who stepped up, but the sell job he has on this as well before he switches it over to Leon Draisaitl is nuts. Like Aiden Hill is just so committed to Nude shooting that puck, and seems like he just forgot Draisaitl was on the other side of the ice, and Draisaitl makes no mistake. We thought he might get his 400 tonight. It is not tonight, but you can probably assume San Jose it comes then.
We've seen a lot of different variations of this kind of goal being scored by the Oilers in the past. I'd say like 5 years since their power play really started clicking. With we've seen a lot of these goals where Leon Draisaitl kind of one times it in, he's in the face-off circle. But this has got to be one of the best ones I've ever seen them execute with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. How well he brought it in and how he pushed the Vegas forward, the penalty killer, pretty much back all the way into the net, and then just fires that no-look quick, kind of almost like a hook pass over to Leon Draisaitl for the one-timer. It's so well executed that it's honestly they've scored a lot of power play goals in the past few years, and that's got to be one of the nicest ones.
I think if you took the numbers away from all of these players and just told people that this was like an Oilers power play and they didn't know who he was playing, most people would think that was probably Connor McDavid who delivered that pass over to Draisaitl, just to give Nuge some love. Like you said, like a really, really high quality goal from and a pass from a player who has just been in such fantastic form recently. Mince Raft put in the chat, this team is learning how to play without McDavid, which I guess it's a blessing and a curse because it means Connor McDavid isn't playing on your team. But when he isn't around, at least it is good to see that they can still perform at a quality level. We spoke about it before too. Like they were pretty decent without him, besides the Seattle game. Psycho's 15 vintage Oilers power play goal, and we have one new Ben Stelter Foundation donation from the Iron Duke 552. You want to guess what he said? Cup year.
Yeah.
Cup year. It seems, again, everyone's just on the cup year. And I think after a win like that tonight, it's fair to say. But the next goal, Victor Arvidsson coming pretty quick after. Interesting call. Obviously, it gets reviewed. I'm not surprised it was, and I think it was the right call. I think we saw it a little bit earlier on in the season, something similar. I think the Oilers were playing Nashville. What people seem to sometimes miss with these goals is if the goalie doesn't have it initially covered and it's kind of bouncing around, then it's up for grabs. And Aiden Hill, I do think this was probably, it's always worth challenging something for goalie interference because you never truly know. But I don't know if this was the right decision for them to chase this on a review.
No, I don't think so. I think also, especially with the risk of giving up the power play, if you're not correct, I think that was sort of an uphill climb, a sort of a Hail Mary from Vegas that put them into a not great spot. I don't really see how this was going to get overturned, considering Aiden Hill's coming out of the crease, and the entire time Victor Arvidsson, I guess, is making any contact with Aiden Hill, he is out of the crease. So I don't think you can really come that far out and cover it and expect not to get touched at all. So I didn't really see Vegas's case. This seemed like a pretty easy call to me.
Yeah, I thought so as well. And Louis, he's pretty dialed in. He always likes to give his opinion. Of course, he's a color commentator on these reviews, but 9 times out of 10, he's actually wrong. And no disrespect to him, I love Louis. He comes on Oilers Nation every day, every Monday, but he was all over this one, saying that this should have been a goal, and obviously it went out to be. A lot of people criticizing the way I keep saying cup year. And there's another donation here from Cup Year himself, $13.99. Liam, can I get an enthusiastic Cup Year? That'll probably hit the spot, I think. $13.99. Thank you very much again for everyone donating Cup Years. But the scoring hasn't stopped, people. You got to let me get through the scoring summary. I know sometimes Aaron makes you pay him off to get through the scoring summary, but this time we need to do it for real because we have one more goal. The Vegas Golden Knights do pull themselves with M1 from Pavel Dorofeyev, shot from the point. A guy who 32nd of the season has kind of come from nowhere. I think 4th or 5th round pick from Vegas, just fires one through. And for me, this just showed a sign of someone who is a confident scorer right now in the NHL, someone who's found his groove, because although it seems like a pretty straightforward shot to have of like, hey, bring it to the point and a lot of traffic in front and just throw it on, see what happens. I don't think we see that shot that often have success in the NHL. So credit to him. But again, like, what was Pickard really supposed to do here, right? So what were your overall thoughts on Calvin Pickard's game tonight?
It was a strong game. I mean, I think a lot of people were kind of unsure what to expect based on his kind of earlier performance with the Carolina game, and then coming back with the struggle against Anaheim in the start after that. Calvin Pickard hasn't played too many consecutive starts in a very long time, really, in the NHL. So I think this game against Vegas, he was sort of the backbone of what they were doing. The Oilers did a really good job of limiting shots and limiting high danger shots, but every time that Vegas really had any sort of pressure, anytime they did really anything offensively, Pickard looked solid in the net.
Yeah, you see it on the screen there. 20 saves for Calvin Pickard tonight on 22 shots for a .909 save percentage. Saved by a couple of posts as well, to be fair. But hey, it's good positioning if you ask me.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.